I mean, DMAT was like the most difficult thing for a system to change to, and it has changed very successfully.
Isn't it safe to say that for every new change that came about, whether institutional or technological, there was invariably a fair amount of opposition to it?
Absolutely. There were too many vested interests who could participate in the market in the manner they liked because it was not routinized, systemized, because it was not regulated. And those people are not a part of the market anymore.
But you know, just talking about regulation itself, we've seen these instances happen in the last couple of months, you know, not taking names once again, but again, just certain gentlemen who had shown some interest in acquiring Satyam. Now, the company that he had been promoting earlier but then had exited, so selling off to another big player, that stock started rising, whereas everyone in the market knew that there's no logical explanation because the two entities aren't even linked. But it kept happening, and we haven't seen the regulator really come out and talk very tough on sort of these counters as a real estate stock that everyone in the market these days is actually talking about. Again, gravity-defying movement. So would you say regulation is strong enough, or are these things prevalent even in the US market, any other developed market per se?
I think the regulation is going to be centered around who are the participants in the exchange, whether it is a broker or an investor or a FII. He can only look at that and regulate that. Now, why that particular investor bought a particular stock at a particular point of time can be a case for insider trading, but it's a very, very difficult thing to investigate. And secondly, it's for small stocks and small movements. I don't think the regulator has the possibility of making a case against X, Y, and Z. And frankly, this other case which you mentioned about Satyam, I don't know which stock you're talking about. So,
if I take the name, you'll remember instantly.
Okay. So I would disregard all these things as part of, you know, lack of other news making interesting stories situation. And these things happen and they go away. It's not something that one should materially look at the full market with.
You know, the market continues to contemplate certain things that need to be done in terms of liquidity, professionalism. So a couple of things like the institutional mechanism to short sell and therefore stock lending, which is allowed, which is there on paper, but doesn't actually happen. Then also this, the question that we were discussing earlier about expansion of trading timings. Will all this go towards, well, professionalizing, creating more liquidity, not allowing these one-off instances to happen that tend to, you know, spoil the name of the market or that time band or whatever? Would these things work out?
I have a very defensive view when it comes to institutions participating in the stock market or in any market, whether it's debt market, whether it is futures, currency markets. I think institutions are trustees of small people's capital. So when they are trustees, they should perhaps take a very, very defensive view in how they trade in a market. So I'm not really sure whether I would like to even see them in the derivatives markets. I know the world has completely gone and said, yes, that's the only way they can live. But we have also seen what the world has gone and done in the financial systems. I think that if you take compounded return over a 20-year period, and that's what large institutions are supposed to do, they don't need to do all this. I mean, what more are they going to create? How much more wisdom do they have to earn short-term returns than the large traders of the market? I think that's a phenomena, or that's a business that hedge funds should do. I don't think institutions should even take part in it.
We'll just take a short break on that note. When we come back, of course, Amit mentioned the financial markets as they are around the world right now. That has a huge bearing. The big question, are the FIIs going to return anytime in the near future? Coming up on the other side. Stay tuned.
The fun place where outings are tickets to celebrations and where cultures melt to make one pot puree. Experience the world's finest tourist destination. Malaysia with Thomas Cook. Destination Malaysia. This weekend on Life and Style. Only on UTVI.
अब हो जाए हर सपना सच्चा गारंटीड रिटर्न सुरक्षा का वादा हर 3 साल में मनी बैक है पक्का हे मजा 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 जीने का
LIC जीवन वर्षा, गारंटीड रिटर्न्स, हर 3 साल में मनी बैक और पूरी सुरक्षा, आपकी खुशियों की चाबी।
What do I call this color? Papa.
Twinkle?
With so many colors on the Videocon LCD, you will have to invent new names for them. Videocon Integra LCDs, a new language of colors.
First I was afraid. I was petrified.
Kept thinking that each meeting meant
that I would have to fly.
But then I spent so many nights
reading emails way too long.
that I grew strong.
Network video came along, and so I'm back.
No time to waste. Just click the mouse and get things done.
see people face to face.
I should have changed things long ago.
This technology saved the day.
More collaboration, less complication. That's the human network effect. Learn more at cisco.in/newwave.
So Amit, let me straight away ask you that question. Are the big money bags from around the world, I don't know if they actually exist anymore, but any sign of them returning? Because the fact is, let's live with this. I mean, this market has moved on liquidity and it's been global liquidity really.
Well, I think it's a difficult situation for them. As much as they may find the Indian markets attractive, or they may find even tomorrow the Chinese market attractive, the amount of capital that they have has shrunk largely. Secondly, they are all under the process of deleveraging because they don't want to take any more risk. They have been battered down badly because of this risk that they have taken in the global financial system, and that depression is something which makes them more and more risk averse. In the next 6 months, yes, I do think that the global liquidity which has been created because of this deleveraging, because of the US pumping so much money into the system, will attract some desire to earn returns from productive assets. When that happens, markets will be identified. When markets are identified, good markets will obviously outperform bad markets. And I think to that extent, Indian industry and Indian consumer market behavior of last 6 months is a very, very positive sign for any investor.
Correct me if this is wrong in terms of reading the situation, but the problem started with the credit markets and the complete clogging of the entire system, the breakdown of the system really, extended onto the real economy. What seems to be happening right now is that central bankers around the world are trying desperately to fix the credit markets back. Perhaps to an extent that has already happened, but the market is still looking at the real economy. So does this mean the turnaround will only happen when the real economy starts turning around, irrespective of the fact that 1 trillion was pumped in just last night by the Fed once again?
I think there'll be two parts to a recovery in the stock markets worldwide. One is from the bottom where they are. If there is no further crisis, if there is no huge Eastern European defaults, if these things are under control in some form or the other by the central banks of these governments, then from the bottom, which is basically at a level where Citibank was considered to be a default bank, to where it was for say 6 months ago, is a possibility. In other words, the market cap can go to $25 billion from $5 billion. But it can never go to a growth momentum of $270 billion where it was 2 years ago. So we must differentiate that from where we are. But a delta from the bottom is definitely possible.
Fair enough. No, I just wanted a sense, have we put enough money behind this problem? Whether you look at it from a US point of view or a globe point of view. One, have we put enough money? Two, the fact remains that a lot of money coming in isn't being put in right away. Some of the second half of the $700 billion that Obama was going to put in is going to happen only in 2010. So when we talk of recovery, and when should we mention the whole fact about the market looking for a real economy prime up, maybe it's not going to be 6 months. It could last us well into the next year, maybe 18 months.
Where Europe and United States is concerned, I think any promising growth, any improvement in capacity utilization, anything to make them feel that they are a robust situation will not even be 1 year, it will be 5 years.
Okay.
Two very fierce camps, and we keep asking this question every time we do a market interview. You think the Indian market can revive ahead of the Dow, or will we need to see a recovery in the US markets first?
again, I say the same thing. I think where India is concerned, we'll come back from 7,600 or 6,500 from wherever we will reach